Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a GameReplays.org HoNcast, as I steal that from the well-known competitor. But we have today UNGL semi-finals, game number 2, I suppose, as there's two teams playing in the semi-finals, as they're semi-finals, duh. And they're both best of one. Today we have Empr versus TzK, and who are TzK? They are Typy, Krypty. I hope I said that right. Joining me today on the microphone is LukDeRiff, and I am, of course, the Four Court Jester. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing good. The first game, the first semifinals, was actually a pretty good match. If you haven't seen it, just go and check it out. And I hope we won't refer to it and spoil it for you. But I hope this game will be just as good.
Yeah, the last game was definitely fun to watch, and we'll just leave it at that. So, let's go over these bands, my good sir.
Okay, we have Engineer, Thunderbringer, Dr. Repulsor, LukDeRiff, Balfagor, and Devour. And mind you, it is patch 1.0.12. So Engineer has still the overpowered turret, if you might call it, and Balfagor has still his old ultimate with his ridiculous strength gain. So he's really hard to take down. So those two bands are pretty reasonable at the very moment. Thunderbringer is a kind of a standard ban because of his incredible nuking power, and he being able to destroy the poor supports from any trial lane. Dr. Repulsor, you don't want to have that when Empire Gaming are playing, because FAV or Violation, whatever he's called, whatever account he's playing on, he plays a very strong Dr. Repulsor. LukDeRiff is one of the strongest trial lane heroes at the very moment, and Devour, he's just pretty much a standard ban as well.
Catch your breath. But yeah,
I'm not Angel. I can't live without breathing.
You're not English, yeah, we get it. Hi, Angel. I mean, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, here we go. First picks picked up here was Glacius on TzK. I don't really know what to call them other than TzK, so I'm going to leave it at TzK. But the Glacius on their part, looking at the shadow bands here of that Andromeda, could indicate a very early tri-lane coming out. They might go 2-2-1, but anytime you see a Glacius, there's a very good chance that a tri-lane is going to be popping out of there. Knowing that, Empr here put up a Wretched Hag, which is a great solo hero to go up against those guys, linking into those woods, picking up them experiences, and not dying, which is the important part, is always great for their Witch Slayer. Of course, their counter to that, they might want to be setting up their own tri-lane, or maybe just a roaming. We haven't seen a roaming game in a while, have we?
Yes, just simply because of the fact that you can't afford, when you have a tri-lane, yeah, the roamer really has troubles. I'm not sure, but if you see an Andromeda, we can of course see a roaming, but she's just much more popular at the moment in the trial lane. So you could very well see a Glacius and an Andromeda in a trial lane together with a carry, and then Bubbles in the hard solo, because he's actually very well capable of doing that as well. I know that you don't like it, Jester.
I don't like the turtle. I don't like him.
However, we see on the Hellborn side now Flint Beastwood and Hellbringer being picked up, so that leaves us with several possibilities that could happen. But you could actually evolve a tri-lane around Flint Beastwood with Witch Slayer and Hellbringer, but you could also pick up another tri-lane support to build a tri-lane, or
it just could be going a 2-2-1. I mean, Flint is a squishy hero. Like, to start off the game, in the beginning, he has no escape mechanism. He's a slow orc, so to speak. I can't say he's a fat orc, because he's actually pretty in shape. But he's a slow orc, he's squishy, and you do not want to put him up against a tri-lane, especially with disables and slows. So I can't imagine that they would put two supports with him to help him out in that situation.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do, because it's actually pretty good. Yeah, and the Hellborn lanes are pretty obvious now.
Pebbles, mid, Malakin off by himself, Andromeda, or no, Malakin in the tri-lane, Bubbles off by himself, and yeah, you're set. No, that's pretty predictable,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and then you have, but Flint Beastwood, we could run him in the trial lane, so it's gonna all come down to their last pick. I think that okay, that's pretty interesting. So now I think that they're gonna run the trial lane with Flint Beastwood, Witch Slayer, and Behemoth in it. and then they're gonna run a Hellbringer mid and Wretched Hag in the hard solo. That would be the thing that would make the most sense to me. However, I'm not sure. So this is going down to Empire's playstyle because they really like. Okay, that's it. I thought that they might run Hellbringer in the hard solo because I've seen that as well. Not as successful, but you know.
Well, we've seen that
it
from
worked out, so-
MSI, Fresh Pro.
Yeah, yeah. But that's Fresh. Fresh does loads of crazy stuff.
Yeah, he's
But
fresh. Yeah.
Unique Phaser is normally the hero, the player that deals with the hard solo. But I don't think that a Behemoth can take a hard solo. I don't think that Behemoth can take a solo at all. So.
I'm still skeptical on the whole try, but you know what? We're gonna find out in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, and now it's gonna all come down to the race of fancy internet connections. Who's got the fanciest?
It's not even internet connections, it's just computer speed.
Really?
Yeah.
Hasn't got nothing to do with internet connection.
Not
Like, not
really.
at
It's all server-based internet, so whoever can load, the graphics and all that gets in first.
Okay, I see, but Scandal has a pretty beastly computer, it seems.
So do I. What do you? I mean, yeah.
Well, I don't.
I mean, the one thing we can really agree to here is that Favy with that Wretched Hag is going to be off by herself. Pebbles off by herself. Bubbles off by herself. And, I mean, we got that Flint and the Hellbringer at least going top right now with that Witch Slayer. I really don't think that Behemoth is going to be by himself, so maybe they're going to go for a 4-man gank up top as Favy is kind of off by his lonesome off in the corner. Looks like he wants to go for a quick Chalice, as he already picked up the Crushing Claw's Mark of the Novice.
Yeah, that's pretty standard build on Hellbringer these days. It is just, you just pick up that Blatchless and then you just spam away, especially as this is before, the huge nerf, well, the nerf to the Blatchless occurred. So this is here, the Blatchless is actually really, really powerful. So it makes a lot of sense. You can just, throw your Death Boil out all the time.
Contact! Lots of contact! Oh, they might be able to pick up a Pebbles kill here. No, Pebbles going to be throwing out hers. Might be able to pick up a Flint Beastwood kill here. But it really comes down to range versus melee at 4-on-4 up top. Who would have really guessed both teams going for a 4-on-4 encounter?
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah, it seems, yeah. But
it seems. That's it, man. What am I supposed to say? It's like, oh no, you are all wrong.
You could say that.
No, you're not. You're absolutely right. That is. So lanes were obvious, and I suppose they're looking for the rune, and Hellbringer's gonna pick that one up, and I think he's gonna move.
No, Hellbringer's gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, he's gonna leave it alone. Aw.
He's probably gonna give it to this Flint.
Helpful,
Flint needs the mana. Clearly he. Yep. Okay. So looks like that tri-lane up top, with that Hellbringer versus Pebbles mid, and that Wretched Hag versus Bubbles. Alright, yep, so, okay, tri-lane, you win, yada yada. Looks like Andromeda's under a little bit of fire. Oh, that Behemoth is reaching her. That's not going to be enough to kill her. Look at that, though. 30 hit points, skin of her teeth. But a lot of pressure is going to be going on as these two tri-lanes go head to head. Now they got to be wary. They can't let Malikan do a lot of farming here, because after a little bit, Malikan's going to get A, beefy, and B, very spiky damage-wise, throwing out a sword into, of course, his ultimate later on. And that really, he kind of is like that one-trick pony a little bit, with an extra little bit of flavor on the side, as he has that ultimate that can fear, plus now the ranged and the splash. It's just ridiculous how he adds up.
Yeah, and he can farm very well with a sword and a sword throw if you stack the creeps. That actually is a pretty easy farmer. He's a good initiator, a strong late game carry, and he is pretty helpful in like ganks because of the sword throw. So he's not really a one-trick pony, but his role is pretty set, if you want to say that. That is
if
true.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I hear you loud and clear.
So. Yeah.
Anyways, that Pebbles in the mid picked up an Iron Buckler right off the bat, with obviously some health regen that he's used, but an Iron Buckler off the bat for a Pebbles. Is that standard?
Yeah, it's pretty, you know, you pick it up because look at Pebble's armor. He starts off at level 1, I think, with 0.26 armor. And that is the lowest base armor in the entire game, and it's just solo is basically no reduction at all. So auto attack harassment really works very, very well against Pebbles. And that's why an Iron Buckler is really good, because it just reduces all the auto attack harassment that he'll receive from Hellbringer. So it's pretty okay. It is a good pickup, especially if Pebbles feels confident in his last hitting capabilities.
I'm confident that's a first blood as Andromeda goes down. Great block by Behemoth, letting that Flint Beastwood and that Witch Slayer just really slam away on her. So back to the cold void of space she goes, and that's a first kill there for Empire on this tri-lane, no less.
Yeah, it's really helpful that Flint is actually not a bad hero in the tri-lane as a carry, because he's got that flare, which is very strong, with being a slow and a decent nuke at the same time, and having a large AoE. So that works out pretty well for them.
Plus it gives
And
vision.
he can save.
Plus it gives vision.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but it is a really, really good skill, and he can stay very far back, so he's less suspectable. You know, he's less, in danger of being ganked from the enemy trial lane, of being killed by the enemy trial lane.
Well, speaking of ganks, that Andromeda came mid and tried to put some hurt there on Hellbringer. Did not work whatsoever. Now the tri-lane up top without that Andromeda is facing a little bit of pressure here on that Glacius, but does not look like they're going to be able to land that kill. Now, for the composition of their tri-lane here, what they have is they have that melee hero of Behemoth, and then two ranged, with the Beastwood plus the Witch Slayer, both with great ranged spells as well as ranged attacks. So I'm a little surprised they weren't able to take down that Glacius, but I guess it just came down to, positioning.
Yeah, they weren't Glacius just had to turn around, and they were not they didn't feel confident enough to go in actually. So yeah, so they were just not as offensive enough in that case. But I think that's not too bad really. It is okay to just not pick up every kill and not try hard, because Behemoth actually dropped relatively low, and if Malakin would have had time to get in, then he would have picked up that Behemoth, and I think Behemoth kill is not worth a Glacius kill, to be honest.
Really?
Especially not if especially if Malakin gets the kill. That's really not what you want.
Okay. Well, support for support in my eyes is always an eye for an eye. But that's just how I see it as it is. So, who's winning the tri-lane? Malakin is 4. Malakin's also now getting hit by this Behemoth. Out comes the combo onto Glacius. I'd be very surprised if he got away this time, but no, he's going to shatter into a million billion pieces, as Andromeda, who was coming down to help out that Pebble, is going to be trying for this Hellbringer, is able to get that with the last auto attack. But so, this roaming Andromeda, great, fine, you're doing your job perfectly, but as soon as they see you down in the middle, they know it's a 3-2 advantage up top, and they were able to capitalize upon that by taking out that Glacius. What's happening down south? Really, not much of anything. Both Bubbles and Wretched Hag just going tit for tat at this point. Both level 6, kind of just running around, each of them just hitting each other as often as they can. That's about how it goes. I say that, and Wretched Hag goes down, of course.
Of course. Just to prove you wrong, Jester.
Always proving me wrong. Anyways.
Yeah. Whatever. However, that kill in mid for Andromeda and
Pebbles
was very important, because if you look at the creep score of Hellbringer compared to the creep score of Pebbles, then you actually see that Pebbles was struggling quite a bit in mid, so it was very good from Andromeda to move down there. Pretty bad for them, for Glacius, to get cut off and just die. But it's really hard with Glacius. We had that in the last game. We had a great Glacius play, but to be honest, you can't really avoid being killed at all with Glacius unless you have absolutely perfect positioning, because Glacius just dies instantly once somebody attacks you. You're just basically dead. It's really, really hard.